Lyding en hoop, verdriet en saam staan jy staan. Jy is altyd daar. Dit wat ons doen, ons liefdes, ons vreugdes, ons plekke, ons thuisdes, tot daar waar ons reis, jy is daar. Afrikaans is ons wese. Dis die taal waarin ons groet, die taal is in ons bloed, is Afrikaans, vir ons mense. En ek stuur vir jou 'n sein, met 'n boodskap daarby, en waar jy is, sal jy dit kry, in Afrikaans vir ons mense. Al verander straatname, al word helde laat val, ons is steeds deur ons adem, ons kultuur, ons verhaal, dit sal altyd bestaan. Afrikaans is ons wese. Dis die taal waarin ons groet, die taal is in ons bloed, is Afrikaans, vir ons mense. En ek stuur vir jou 'n sein, met 'n boodskap daarby, en waar jy is, sal jy dit kry, in Afrikaans vir ons mense. Ons is daarmee gebore, die taal waarvoor ons staan, dit vloei deur ons are, ons kinders praat het saam, dit sal altyd bestaan. Afrikaans is ons wese. Dis die taal waarin ons groet, die taal is in ons bloed, is Afrikaans, vir ons mense. En ek stuur vir jou 'n sein, met 'n boodskap daarby, en waar jy is. Dis die taal waarin ons groet, die taal is in ons bloed, is Afrikaans, vir ons mense. En ek stuur vir jou 'n sein, met 'n boodskap daarby, en waar jy is, sal jy dit kry, in Afrikaans vir ons mense. Afrikaans vir ons mense. Afrikaans vir my mense. Afrikaans vir ons mense. Just like the street lights lit this town, like a fire in a blaze, gotta burn it down.
Alright, here we are, folks.
Can't be afraid to leave this out. We got this far, don't know how. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna let it rain tonight. We gonna let it rain tonight. We gonna let it just like the sunrise. We gonna let it
Welcome back once again. This is Chris Report, and he assured me that Steenhuisen down in Boulders. Folks, this is Chris Wyatt reporting from South Africa. Otsi Hilijang, eh? Hochhandet, eh? Servus, grüß Gott, bienvenue, bonjour, tous. J'espère que tout le monde c'est I want to say, how does everyone want to be? Well, welcome back to the program, folks. This is Chris live in central Pennsylvania for today's news, your dose, your daily jab of no nonsense, critical, honest, objective analysis. Yes, we throw some adjectives in there, but we're pretty clear about our bias. It's for liberty. All right. Welcome back to the program. We just completed an interview with Joan Swat, the Chief of Staff for the Referendum Party, a new party, one of these 31 new parties competing in this year's election in South Africa. They've managed to make it on all three lists. Congratulations to that party. That in itself is an achievement. Ulrich Fenter is here. Charles van Onselen, the voice of reason. Hendo, the moderator extraordinaire. Chris Ehlers. Charles already said. Nick Muller. Who else we got there? Who else? Come on. There we go. Lorraine Slabbert's here, Lorraine. And then please ask the candidate tomorrow if they will entertain Cape Independence, the ANC lose the majority status. I should imagine they would, but anyway, I've asked that question previously, but I can ask it again. No, the reason doesn't fall away. The ANC doesn't rule in the Western Cape now. The Democratic Alliance does, and they're not happy with that. They don't like being controlled by the central government. What time does the broadcast start? Well, it starts at 12:15, but I had to get ready. Charles says, I guess now. Christine has, okay, so Sean is here. Ants, welcome, Ants. George Steinberg in from Heckport, and then Emil Therrett, welcome, Emil. Nick Muller, Garrett Gillich in from Somerset West, Keith Alderson from Coventry. And then we've got, who else we got here? Rainier Dutoy's back, good to see you again. Graham, welcome, Graham. CyberAgs, Sue Walsh. You really enjoyed the broadcast. Well, thank you for that. Lots more coming, folks. Neil De Beer, Fatima Abdul, Athel Trollop. We're trying to get other folks too. Peter Gernevald. Also next week, I've got to double check on that. I've got Dr. Corney Mulder. He'll be on next week as well. And a lot of live streams this week and next week. Matthew Dixon is here for the women. Well, Matthew, sorry, I've got none here. It's just my sexy appearance. Myra Page is here as well. Welcome to you. And Brett Sessoms is made in. Is back. Good to see you again. The DA has done a good job with Western Cape, says Brett. Matter of perspective, I think many people would agree with you, but some people would disagree, but everything's a matter of perspective. Doesn't matter what you do, you can never please everybody, no matter how effective or good you are at something. So, what happened here? I've got two recordings. That's weird. So, I'm sorry, I'm looking at they suddenly are giving me different formats here for this recording. So I'll try that MP3 file and see what happens there. Maybe it's better. Yeah, it's making it a lot smaller. More changes to Zoom. That's the first time it's saved like that. I just did a recording this morning. By the way, programming alert, and then we've got some breaking news coming out of London as well as here on campuses in the United States. The breaking news we'll get to in a moment. But first off, programming announcement. This morning, we're supposed to talk about the effects of communism on minority groups from Transylvania. However, despite being up at 3:30 in the morning, getting up for that broadcast and trying from about 3:45 until 4:30 in the morning, we were unsuccessful in getting a decent connection with data to Janos and Ernst Rutz, who are currently in Transylvania. So they are traveling to Timișoara. I don't know when we'll do the broadcast, but we will try to do that broadcast and talk about the effects. So my apologies for that. I've pushed it off till tomorrow, but it's not going to be tomorrow. I just don't know the time. So I just had to save that broadcast. So we didn't run it and have to run it again. So if you were tuning in for that earlier today, my apologies. Sometimes things are beyond our control. The Transylvania region, much of it apparently remains stuck in the 13th century, not in the 21st century. Mike's here in from Pennsylvania. Allison Johnson. I think she outclassed her. Okay. Debbie, welcome to you. And Sedgefield is back. Hey, Sedgefield, good to see you. So let's get to the news that I want to talk about here, folks. By the way, it's the last day of the month for solar, and I've got 849 kilowatt hours. I think George is going to come on here and tell me he's got 4,000. I wish I had that many panels, but I do not. But I didn't pay for my system. So, right, 849, and it's generating power right now. So we'll see how the day goes. Let's get to the breaking news I want to talk about here just a moment ago. The first one is a 14-year-old boy has died after a man ran a car into a house and attacked people with a sword near a London tube station. So take away people's guns, and they'll use cars. Take away people's cars, and they'll use swords. Take away people's swords, they'll use knives. Take away their knives, they'll use rocks. Take away rocks, they'll use fists. People with evil intent will always commit evil crimes. You cannot stop that. Taking guns away from people is not the solution. You disarm people who are honest. Boy, 14, dies after man with sword stabs multiple people near London tube station. A teenager is dead and a man has been arrested after driving a car into a home in East London before getting out and attacking members of the public with a sword. It happened at 7 a.m. local time. And police in London were alerted to a serious incident taking place in Hainault, east of London. Reports of the vehicle being driven to a house in the Truro Gardens area and multiple people being stabbed. One of those, a 14-year-old, has died of injuries suffered in the unprovoked attack. This time, we understand the suspect went on to attack other members of the public and 2 police officers. Police in London have been called and other emergency services are in Hainault. This must have been a terrifying incident for those concerned. I know the wider community will be feeling shock and alarm, said Deputy Assistant Commissioner Nicklin. We do not believe there is an ongoing threat to the wider community. We are not looking for more suspects. So is this terror related? We do not know at this hour. Is it someone with a mental illness or is it someone getting even from domestic dispute? Whatever the case is, a 14-year-old has been murdered with a sword in London. Yeah, take away firearms and see what you get. The Columbia student protests, they have now committed an insurrection, occupying campus buildings, breaking through windows. The occupation of Hamilton Hall raised the stakes, and these criminals should be arrested forthwith. You can see them here breaking into Hamilton Hall. These are leftist criminals, pro-terror Hamas supporters who must be arrested and imprisoned. You can take them to the D.C. jail and lock them up for 3 years without charges. Look at this, running into the building. These criminals need to be prosecuted. Look at this. Look at this. This should not be tolerated in a proper country like the United States. This basket case that the Biden administration has turned us into a third world country with an influx of disease-ridden criminals coming through the border. That's right. That's right. Disease-ridden criminals. Not immigrants. Not immigrants. They're not immigrants. They're not migrants. They're criminals, and they are destroying this country. These people here, I don't know if they're Americans or if they're foreign students or whoever they are, but they should be arrested for their crimes and imprisoned and given the same treatment of those who walked into the building on January 6th, 2021. Student protesters at Columbia took over and barricaded themselves into an academic building last night, raising the stakes in their standoff with the school. There's no stakes to be raised. It's called tear gas. You throw it into the building, and then they'll be forced to exit. You put them in zip ties, you haul them off to prison, and you prosecute them. Of course, this is in New York, where crimes don't matter, and they will be released anyway. But I think, given the fact that this is an insurrection, that the federal government should intervene here because it's a violation of federal law, and these people clearly are trying to overthrow the authority of the United States government. Now, you may scoff at that statement, but that's as ludicrous as the people on January 6th being insurrectionists. It's no different than that. So if you believe that January 6th was an insurrection, then you must believe that this is an insurrection. Do not incite another Kent or Jackson state by bringing soldiers and police officers with weapons on our campus, the group said, referencing deadly shootings. 1970. Students' blood will be on your hands. Oh, so now we're getting terroristic threats from these student groups. These are terror organizations that are pro-Hamas, pro-terror supporters who believe in the gang rape and the execution and breast slicing off and rifles shoved in the vaginas of young women, innocent young women, and the murder of babies by putting them in ovens and the blowing off of hands with grenades of innocent civilians. These people are on our college campuses and must be removed immediately and imprisoned. This nonsense. Look at this. That we've let the terror in our midst. We were warned in the 1990s by a CNN reporter that we've allowed these terrorists in our midst. Yeah, look at them. Look at them. They should be rounded up forthwith. This is a pretty simple solution. Body armor, riot shields, riot batons, CS gas, and paddy wagons, and you solve this problem. This is unacceptable in a real country. Escalation came several hours after Columbia began suspending students who stayed in the pro-Palestinian camp at past 2 p.m. They told them to get out. So suspend them and take them down. Look at this. They're inside, blocking doorways, barricading buildings, hiding their cowardly faces. This is unbelievable. These people need to be dealt with. Well, the ballot is confusing if you're in South Africa. Let's get to South African news now, folks. If you're in South Africa, the ballot breakdown, this is what you can do on voting day. You put one X on each of your 3 ballots. Are you confused? I know I am. The blue is the national ballot, where you'll vote for 200 of the 400 seats in the National Assembly. Only political parties will be featured on this ballot. This is the same sheet throughout the country, so you vote for a political party. The orange ballot is for the regional. On this sheet, you will vote for the remaining 200 seats in the National Assembly, which means proportional representation. Political parties and independents will be represented on this ballot, which is unique in each province. Pink is the provincial ballot, and you will vote for 487 seats in the provincial legislatures. Political parties and independents will be represented on this ballot, which is also unique in each province. So here you go. 3 different ballots, a blue, an orange, and a pink ballot. 90 million ballots have been printed because you get to vote 3 times. 23,303 voting stations and 202,500 voting officials. That's just crazy. That's just crazy. You will be able to vote between 7 a.m. and 9 p.m. on May 29th in South Africa with your ID. Lorenzo Tomasi's back. Greetings. Looking forward to this. Let's hope the ANC gets a huge, I don't know what, WC on the 29th of May. I don't know what that means. John Jarvis. Not sure what's going on over here. All right, so back to the news on this side. The Independent Online held an event about elections, and this lady lost her crap. Interestingly enough, Robin Lee Franke, who does pretty good reporting for the IOL, runs a headline. Now, to be fair to the journalist, oftentimes the headline is not the creation of the author or the journalist, but rather of their editor. So this is what's disturbing about this. This headline makes a bogus claim which might have been stated, but then is never mentioned in the article. That is what we call clickbait, and it's intentional, and it's race hustling. And I'm not blaming Robin Lee Franke, the colored lady from Western Cape, but I am blaming the Independent Online for this. IOL elections panel discussion. Gender-based violence is the next apartheid in this country. Notice how suddenly apartheid is no longer capitalized. That says community activist Lucinda Evans. And I have no doubt that she actually said that, but it does not appear in the story anywhere. As questions were allowed from the audience, Cape Flats community activist Lucinda Evans did not mince her words. She's known for fighting against gender-based violence around the country. She posed her questions to Sammy Clausen from the PMC and leader of the NCC, Fidel Adams. And there's the super chat. Thank you for that super chat. Appreciate that. Actually, let's get the woman back here. So, there we go. All right, there you go. Thank you for that. Excuse me, my doorbell is ringing. I'll be right back. I'm not really sure what. Somebody's at my door, so hang on, folks. I'll give you this Joe Biden video.
My mind's going blank now. What's happening? I can't remember. I'm gonna lose track. My mind's going blank now. What are you talking about? What the hell's going on here? Where the hell are we? My mind's going blank now. I can't remember. I don't know what the hell he's talking about. What am I doing here? My mind's going blank now. Where am I headed? I keep forgetting I'm president. Where am I? No idea. Last night I was on television. I was on a telephone. Rapidly rising. And with I don't know. COVID has taken more than 100 years. Look, here's lives reflected in the NHEI. America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was inflicting we're going to seize the ill-begotten gains of Putin's kleptocracy. Yeah. NATO's purpose is to defend against aggression. Let me make near and dear to you that you like to be able to. Anyway. My mind's going blank now. What's happening? I can't remember. I'm gonna lose track. My mind's going blank now. What are you talking about? What the hell's going on here? Where the hell are we? My mind's going blank now. I can't remember. I don't know what the hell he's talking about. What am I doing here? My mind's going blank now. Where am I headed? I keep forgetting I'm president. Where am I? No idea. I don't think as the idea that political coverage. I want to thank and recognize Dr. John Kingersong. That song. I can't get this to function at all. My mind's going blank now. What's happening? I can't remember. I'm gonna lose track. My mind's going blank now. What are you talking about? What the hell's going on here? Where the hell are we? My mind's going blank now. I can't remember. I don't know what the hell he's talking about. What am I doing here? My mind's going blank now. Where am I headed? I keep forgetting I'm president. Where am I? No idea.
Hey, folks, there you go. So my mind's going blank now. Back to the news. I'll finish that story in just a moment, but there was something that comments over here in the chat very quick I want to bring. Hey, Richard Lammer, welcome to you. Soon the world is going to be worse than South Africa. Well, you might be onto something there. And wake up call, that's what WC is. Okay, thank you. I hadn't seen that acronym before, wake up call. Hey, James Boy. Ralph says, good day all. I'd like to address a huge elephant in the room. That's treason. Why did you capitalize treason? And whose treason are you talking about, Ralph? Please share your thoughts. So I don't see any follow-up to that. So what elephant? Oh, there it is, treason. When a country does what it's doing to its citizens, like the government, they break every constitutional rights. Well, that would be the United States. Treason's going on here too. Every rule of law being broken here. It's crazy. Dogbreaker's back. Oh my goodness. Keep forgetting that I'm president. I love that part. Mine's going blank now. What the hell is going on? What the hell are we doing here? Yeah. Well, all right, let's get back to that story. So this lady, Lucinda Evans, from the Cape Flats, who's an activist, she said, hang on a second here. She said, she told Western Cape Premier Alan Windy, Hanover Park, Lavender Hill, Hillview, still part of the Western Cape. Over the weekend, there were 48 murders. There were 98 murders this weekend, 87 attempted murders. What's your plan while you're still here? That's a fair question to Alan Windy and the Democratic Alliance, a party that is frequently blames this on the national competency of the South African Police Service, which is not under the control. But you have Metropolitan Police under your control. Can you not do something to address these issues, to round up these criminals? Yeah, she nearly blew the roof off the Taj Hotel when she made the statement, there was fuck all services from the police. Well, that's true. Yep. Yeah. Told panelists who are trying to speak down to the three women on the panel, I say cease on you. Wow. Okay. Yep. So Fidel Adams apologized on behalf of his gender. And Fidel Adams, whom I've met, you shouldn't apologize for your gender. You haven't done anything wrong. I'm not apologizing for my gender. That's ridiculous. I don't bear responsibility for the actions of others. I've not inculcated the poor values that led to people abusing women. No, not at all. Fidel Adams said, me as a South African male apologize to women everywhere. We live in a traumatized area. The only way to ever beat this thing is to pick those boys up from the floor, show them the value of lives, show then when striking a woman, you're striking your mother. Well, now what you need to do is discipline youth. That's what you need to do. And you need to have positive examples in the community, not toitsy and gangsters, but positive examples in the community and faith-based activities. That certainly helps. But the devaluing of life that's taken place in South Africa, around the world, and in the United States ever since the advent of leftists under Barack Hussein Obama has really been disheartening. It is truly disheartening. We have all descended into the behavior of many states in Central Asia and the Middle East. It's really sad. Bantu Holomisa has decided to stand as a candidate for the Eastern Cape Premier. Bantu Holomisa, been a frequent guest on the program. The general is now standing, and there are signs that he will be stepping away from leadership of his party. But Bantu Holomisa, according to Mail and Guardian, will stand as the United Democratic Movement's Eastern Cape Premier candidate. And that's not a surprise. I've reached out to him for an interview and also other members of his party. The UDM is on the cusp of becoming irrelevant, down to just 75,000 votes in the last election. They really have a lot of ground to make up. MK and EFF likely to get over 20% of the vote. Think about that. No one's thinking about that. Over 1 in 5 votes will go to these two radical, race-hustling, racist parties. Jacob Zuma and Joseph Malema have reconciled in recent times after a breakdown in the previous relationship. This story from Business Day. According to the latest poll from Ipsos, which we've repeatedly talked about here, EFF get about 11.5%, MK 8.4%. So, wow, that means they could get about 5.5 million votes. That is a frightening prospect, 5.5 million votes. I don't think that's going to happen. I think it'll be closer to 3 million, but we will see what happens. Patricia de Lille, the leader of the Good Party. Yeah, that's right. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Patricia de Lille, the jumping from this party to that party to that party to that party to create this party, to create that party because she's not happy with the way things are going. Patricia de Lille, a minister in the ANC government, hardly a surprise. The so-called leader of the Cape Colored community, she's not, has insulted John Steenhuisen after she took his comments as an insult. Steenhuisen is a fool, says Patricia de Lille. Describing smaller political parties as political mercenaries and popcorn parties is enough proof that DA leader John Steenhuisen is a fool of note, according to Patricia de Lille, who hit back at him for his comments on smaller parties contesting for seats in the Western Cape. On Monday, she visited Elsie's River, one of Cape Town's most gang-infested areas, to campaign for her party. She heard a litany of service delivery complaints from residents, and while she endeavored to attend the service delivery issues, de Lille said it was clear that not everyone in the Western Cape enjoys the DA's good service delivery. Ouch, that hurts. De Lille said that Steenhuisen exposed his lack of understanding by making aggressive comments about other parties contesting elections. She said the DA leader is a fool. He has not fought for this democracy that we enjoy today. It's the 7th time in my lifetime that I'm going to vote. He doesn't understand how democracy works. He's a fool of note. He also claimed to be a constitutionalist, but it's the Constitution, the highest law of this country, provide that any person can belong to any political party of your choice. You can vote for a political party of your choice. He can't interfere with the rights of other voters. Now, Patricia de Lille, that's just silly. That's just silly. Of course, he's not interfering with the rights of other voters. The point that John Steenhuisen is making, and I'm not defending John Steenhuisen, but the point he's making is that a vote for smaller parties is a wasted vote. That's his point. It's the point he made in the municipal elections. It didn't work then. It's not going to work now. South Africa's political landscape is fractured in multiple directions, and people are glomming onto fringe parties like the Patriotic Alliance. And other small parties are benefiting from this breakup of the electorate. Parties like the UIM, the Referendum Party. And we will see if existing parties that are in Parliament will actually be able to pick anything up like the Freedom Front Plus. Wouldn't hold my breath, though, but we'll see what happens. So that's what's going on. No reason for Patricia de Lille to be so insulting. She's simply wrong. She says, you know, when people see me, it's like complaints is written all over my face. We've been working in among these communities, not now, before the elections. There's still complaints. Well, you've been involved in governance in the Western Cape for the past 30 years, Patricia de Lille, and things are demonstrably worse. So at what point do you blame yourself and your previous role in the ANC and all the other parties that you were part of? Remember the Independent Democrats? Yeah, well, I don't think anybody does. The MK Party, doublespeak. Was Zuma's party formed with his blessing or on his behalf? Very confusing statements coming out of the MK Party, which is currently under a lot of pressure for allegations of voter fraud. When former President Jacob Zuma announced his backing of Umkhonto Sizwe, he initially said the ANC's latest political opponent was established with his knowledge and blessing. But after he kicked Jabulani Kumalo to the curb, the party now claims the ACT's leader had registered the party on Zuma's behalf. So which is it? Did you do it with his consent or because he asked you to do it? Probably because he asked you to do it. Well, Mandela-era employed are not caterers, according to the ANC. During Madiba's time, highly skilled and trained people got the jobs. Yeah, not many, though. Former public prosecutor Thuli Mandosela believes that when she was first appointed in Department of Justice to work in drafting policies during Mandela's presidency, it was probably a case of cater deployment, but suggests that cater deployment differs from recent controversial impressions. It was catered deployment. You were a privileged elite, not necessarily qualified. Someone who was qualified was denied the opportunity because perhaps you were qualified, Mondesela, but you were qualified and you were part of the privileged elite. That's why you got the job. Someone who was qualified didn't get it. So it is catered deployment. Stop your nonsense. Stop your nonsense. Well, the Lesotho Highlands Water Project, decades overdue, apparently is on schedule to be completed in 2028. Folks, don't hold your breath on this. Do not hold your breath. The money that's supposed to be developing this will probably vanish or disappear if it hasn't already, as long as the ANC is in control of South Africa. They abandoned this project and did not bring it to fruition. This second Highlands Water Project should have been brought online before the turn of the century, but the ANC diverted the resources. Lesotho Highlands Water Project won't fix Gauteng's infrastructure and supply woes. No, it won't. The leaky pipes, the issues with the corruption and the incompetency in the water services like Rand Water and others will not be fixed by more water coming from the highlands. There'll just be more water wasted. Phase 2 of Lesotho Highlands Water Project, expected to be completed in 2028. Don't hold your breath. Could provide Gauteng with enough water for all, but unless municipalities fix their aging infrastructure, supply won't help. South Africa's government expected the Gauteng burgeoning population would require additional water, and Lesotho Highlands Water Project was the answer. But that treaty was signed in 1986 by the National Party, which had the vision and the forethought and the resources to plan for the expansion of water from Lesotho into Gauteng. The ANC has destroyed that dream. Only one of the three projects was completed, and that was done almost entirely by the National Party. Almost 40 years later, Gauteng's water supply faces long-term disruptions, and any potential solution is likely to come at hefty costs. Phase 2 of the Lesotho Highlands Water Project expected to finally be completed in 2028 after being beset by delays. Yeah, the 40 billion rand Phase 2 was meant to be completed in 2019, but delays repeatedly interrupted its progress. No, it was meant to be completed in 1999, but that was delayed. That's nonsense. Get your story straight here, Daily Maverick. Well, the ANC ward councillor who was executed that we talked about in Rustenburg, her name has been released now, and here's the lady. Police said 54-year-old Poppy Morapedi was killed while walking home with a relative. Wow. She was gunned down in Potseneng village outside Rustenburg Friday night. 54-year-old murdered. And there's a super chat. Thank you for that, Erica, 140 rand super chat. And Emil's gifting a membership. Yep. Well, South African government is expressing its condolences for the death, and there's Charles van Onsland's membership. Courtesy of Emil Thayer. Thank you for that. Well, South African government expressing its condolences over the death of a champion boxer. South African boxing legend Dingaan Thobela. Tributes continue to flow in for South African boxing legend Dingaan, the Rose of Soweto. Dingaan Thobela. It's believed that Thobela had been battling an undisclosed illness. He's found deceased in his home on Monday. He was just 57 years old. Tributes poured in. The three-time world champion from 3 different weight classes. The South African government says, with a heavy heart, condolences to the family, and let the memories of Dingaan Thobela bring comfort. World champion. Born September 24th, 1966. Passed away April 29th, 2024. That's sad. That's too young. 57, folks. Well, scores of people continue to be missing in Kenya after those floods. Once again, look at that SUV upended among debris. At least 91 people are missing after having flooding across Kenya's capital, Nairobi, after weeks of heavy rain and flash floods ravaged parts of the country as a consequence of El Nino. Some of the 76 people are missing after flooding near the hard-hit town of Mai Malu, so the numbers are increasing. The floods have displaced at least 190,000 plus Kenyans. Pretty sad news for Kenya. United States urges countries supplying weapons to Sudan's warring parties to stop warning of a new genocide. While South Africa is silent on Sudan's genocide and starvation, but busy sticking its nose into the business of Israel, who is defending itself, Sudan's genocide continues unabated. Fighting between the RSF and al-Burhan's armies continues. U.S. Ambassador Linda Thomas-Greenfield sitting there. United States on Monday implored all countries supplying weapons to Sudan's warring parties to halt the sales. U.S. Ambassador Linda Thomas-Greenfield told reporters after emergency closed meeting at the UN Security Council that El Fasher, the only capital in Darfur not held by paramilitary forces, is on the precipice of a large-scale massacre. That's just one aspect of the fighting in Sudan, Darfur. It's the fighting between the RSF, the Rapid Support Forces, and the government forces that is causing carnage. Benjamin Netanyahu vows to invade Rafah with or without a deal as ceasefire talks with Hamas continue. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu pledged Tuesday to launch an incursion into the southern Gaza city of Rafah, where hundreds of thousands of Palestinians are sheltering from the 7-month-long Hamas war, as ceasefire negotiations appear to be gaining steam. Well, unless Hamas surrenders, I seriously doubt there will be a ceasefire. The International Court of Justice rejects emergency measures over German arms deal exports for Israel. The World Court rules against issuing emergency order to stop German military exports in a case brought by a malicious Nicaragua. The International Court of Justice has ruled against issuing emergency measures. Nicaragua also demanded that Germany resume funding to the UN agency that harbors terrorists, UNRWA, after Israel alleged some of its employees were involved in the October 7th attack. It wasn't Israel. It was Western media who exposed these people as being pro-Hamas terrorists who murdered innocent civilians, and they work for the United Nations. Chinese water cannons in the South China Seas damage a ship. And here we see again the Chinese committing acts of war against private individuals. China's Coast Guard fired water cannons and damaged a Philippine vessel on Tuesday, marking the latest flare-up of violence between the two countries in the disputed South China Sea. Philippines Coast Guard said the incident occurred as one of the ships and a fisheries agency vessel carried out legitimate patrol near the Scarborough Shoal, a Chinese-controlled rocky outcrop 200 kilometers west of the main Philippine island and thousands of kilometers from China. Yep. Philippines vessels encountered dangerous maneuvers and obstruction from 4 Chinese Coast Guard vessels and 6 Chinese maritime vessels. In a post on the platform Weibo, the Chinese Coast Guard said it expelled a Philippine vessel for intruding into waters in accordance with this law. And I state this unequivocally and categorically, China is a rogue, dangerous nation which is threatening global security. These are global commons that we all use for shipping goods and services. China must be put back in a box. They are a dangerous threat to human security. They are communist, and they are in bed with Democrats and Joe Biden. Indonesian volcano erupting, the Ruang volcano, more than 12,000 people evacuated. This report from Jakarta on Reuters. Indonesia's Ruang volcano erupted Tuesday, spewing lava as lightning flashes lit up its crater, prompting authorities to raise alert status and evacuate more than 12,000 people from a nearby island. And here you can see it. Wow, that is a massive cloud right there. Unbelievable. Look at that. Mother Earth getting even again. The warning issued Tuesday morning remained in place as of the afternoon. Indonesia's disaster management agency said that all 843 residents living on Ruang Island, where the volcano is located, have been moved to Manado, the capital of North Sulawesi province. The eruption follows a series of eruptions earlier this month that forced hundreds to evacuate and the airport in the provincial capital to close. That eruption also caused damage to some homes. At the time, the volcanology also issued a warning about the potential for a tsunami. Oh, that's not good. The UK government still in disputes over Rwandan deportees to Rwanda. Most of the asylum seekers initially earmarked for deportation cannot be located. Of course, they're hiding throughout the UK. This is what happens when you allow criminal alien invaders to come into your midst. They do not voluntarily turn themselves in. They do not honor their court appearance. They're criminals. Why would you trust them in the first place? Whether it's the United Kingdom, France, Germany, the United States? What morons run our countries, allowing our countries to be overrun by criminal alien invaders? I can't just move to Nepal because I want to. I can't just go to New Zealand, demand a house and low income and grants and all these things and free education and subsidies for my children because I want to, because I like it. No, it doesn't work that way. This is ridiculous. It's time for these countries to start behaving like sovereign states. Documents show that 5,700 asylum seekers have been identified in the initial cohort to be sent to Rwanda, but only 2,143 continue to report to the Home Office and can be located for detention. Number 10 said it was not accurate to say the Home Office is unable to locate the others. Of course it's accurate. You have no idea where they're at, Rishi Sunak. You have no idea where these people are. Just like in the United States, these criminals are in our midst. HSBC, the Hong Kong Savings Banking Corporation, based in the UK, the CEO is stepping down. Noel Quinn steered the banking heavyweight into a tumultuous period and sharpened its focus on Asia. Chief Executive Noel Quinn unexpectedly said he would retire, leaving one of the world's largest banks without a clear successor as it navigates geopolitical tensions. The 62-year-old Quinn told HSBC's board earlier in the month that he planned to leave after more than 4 years as CEO and decades with the bank. He said he wanted to devote more time to his personal life. He will remain in post until the board designates a successor. Yet another bank, rudderless, a major bank, HSBC, which has made a big foray into the United States in credit cards. The United Kingdom starts physical checks on fresh food imports from the European Union coming across the border from the Republic of Ireland. Britain launched physical checks on fresh food products imported from the European Union some 3 years after it left the bloc's single market and 8 years after it voted to leave the EU. It took 5 years to get out. While Britain's major supermarkets and large EU exporting businesses have greater resources to handle the paperwork and new demands, smaller retailers and wholesalers have warned of delays and disruptions and said consumers should expect reduced variety of good quality goods, less fresh produce, and higher prices. And how did they get these goods before the European Union? Funny. Of course, that was a long time ago. Ladies and gentlemen, the bizarre report coming from the Epoch Times and from the Centers for Disease Control, HIV has now been spread through a new mechanism that we were unaware of. Dermal abrasions. 3 women were infected with HIV through dermal abrasions, going for beauty treatments and winding up with HIV without having sexual intercourse or blood transfusions. The first case of HIV transmitted through cosmetic needles has been identified. Patients received facials at a spa. Multiple people contracted human immunodeficiency virus through cosmetic needles after receiving facials at an unlicensed spa in New Mexico. 3 women who received platelet-rich plasma microneedling facials, also known as vampire facials, contracted HIV. An investigation pointed to the facials as the method of transmission. Investigation is the first to associate HIV transmission with non-sterile cosmetic injection services, a common exposure to spa clients without behaviors associated with HIV acquisition helped identify a possible cluster association, and analysis of additional data suggests that HIV transmission likely occurred via receipt of the PRP with microneedling facial procedures. Wow. Microneedling facial procedures involve taking blood from a person and separating out PRP. Then a microneedle makes holes in the person's skin and PRP is applied to the holes. Why do you do this to yourself? Now 3 women have HIV. Wow. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Maria Dolores Ramos de Ruiz, former owner of the spa, was later hit with felony charges, including practicing medicine without a license. She pled guilty in 2022 to 5 counts. So, warning to those who place profit over the health and safety of New Mexico consumers. I remain highly concerned that these procedures are not being regulated at the state and federal level, says New Mexico Attorney General Hector Balderas. New Mexico officials described 2 HIV cases among spa visitors previously, but they were having intercourse. Now, these 3 people had no intercourse. course, HIV is a virus that attacks the immune system and can lead to acquired immunodeficiency syndrome if not treated. And even so, you're treated with toxic drugs that shorten your lifespan and damage your organs. Most people contracting the illness are gay or bisexual in the United States or heterosexual in South Africa. Yeah, so that is really sad. A judge has fined President Donald Trump for contempt of court. Well, the judge is contempt. Who's going to fine him? A gag order restricts the former president from making public statements, silencing his First Amendment rights. New York judge fined Donald Trump $9,000 and threatened to throw him in jail for repeatedly violating a gag order restricting the former president from making public statements about potential witnesses in his hush money trial. In a trial for a crime he did not commit and someone else has already been convicted. That would be Mr. Cohen. Wow. Justice Juan Merchant wrote in an 8-page ruling that Trump could face jail time if he keeps breaking his order. The court finds defendant in criminal contempt for willfully disobeying a lawful mandate of this court. It's not lawful. This is illegitimate misuse of the justice system to silence his First Amendment rights. Merchant's finding comes after prosecutors alleged Trump violated the gag order in recent posts on his social media site and campaign website. Yeah, Trump was fined $1,000 for each violation, the maximum under state law. If you don't think the fix is in this election, then you need no further than that. 8 police officers struck by gunfire when trying to serve a warrant for a convicted felon in possession of a firearm. 4 have died. A number of law enforcement officers shot in North Carolina with 4 suffering fatal wounds while serving a state fugitive arrest warrant, according to police. Numerous law enforcement officers were struck by gunfire in a situation off Galway Drive, the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department said. The gunfire erupted when U.S. Marshals Fugitive Task Force was serving a warrant to a convicted felon for possession of a firearm at a Charlotte home. They were confronted by a high-powered rifle, to which they returned fire. The suspect, who was a convicted felon, was shot dead in the front yard, but as the officers approached, they got additional gunfire, and it killed 4 officers. Having apparently foolishly assumed that the threat had been neutralized, they were shot by someone else. As I mentioned, a 4th law enforcement officer has died. 4 others are wounded while serving that warrant in Charlotte, North Carolina. Well, this is a really strange story. A 2-year-old boy has died in Arizona in a bouncy castle. Wow. 2-year-old boy dies after bouncy castle carried away by wind gust in Arizona. Police say the incident appears to be a tragic accident. A 2-year-old boy was killed and another child was injured when a strong gust of wind sent a bouncy castle they were playing in flying into the neighboring lot. Authorities from the Pinal County Sheriff's officials say they were called at approximately 5 p.m. Several children were playing in the bounce house when a strong gust of wind sent it airborne into the neighboring lot. 2-year-old was transported to the hospital where he passed away. A second received non-life-threatening injuries and transported to the hospital. Wow. Police say the incident appears to be a tragic accident. Bouncing castles. What a way to go. That's sad. Sad story there, folks. Well, thank you to everybody who's tuned in. Appreciate you being here. And for those who were here in the previous broadcast, the interview, let me see if there's any comments related to that. Where we got back here. So, Patricia is a vampire, serves no purpose. I think that's probably true. Doc Breaker says, heartbreaking. Shame, man. So many murders saw on Anton Kuhn's page today. Just shocking. It is shocking. 48 murders in the Cape Flats in a weekend on one day. I mean, that's got to be more murders than babies born. Saw something about Icarelini Mayor being elected. Icarelini, let's take a look. I did not see that. It must have happened since I came on. I don't see anything here. That's interesting. All right. Most colors don't like Patricia de Lille. Yep, she is a big disappointment. She's in it for herself. Was born in beautiful Scottsburg. Moved to Gauteng as I got tired of traveling up and down. Okay, cool. Okay, Ghost Hospital. That's a shame. All right, what else we got here in the chat? How are they reusing? I don't know. Well, that's what happens with these places. I would not go to a place like that. Fairy Glen. I don't know that. Hi, Chris. Please check your email. Sent it yesterday. I did check my email yesterday repeatedly, and there was nothing there. And I checked again this morning. I will go check it now. I'm not sure what email you're using. We put it on the post. There's nothing here, man. There's nothing here. I don't know. I don't know where you're sending it. Yeah, there's nothing here. No email. And let me look in the spam folder, see if there's a spam folder. There's 2 things in spam. No, it's the same things. YouTube, promotion, and apply for a loan. Let me delete those now so I don't see them again. Delete. Where's the delete? Where's the delete? Delete forever. There you go. Yeah, there's nothing here. Nothing. I don't know what's going on. It's not coming to the address. You must be doing something wrong. Good. What else we got here? Spook House. What's that? Anyway. There's the email once again. allaboutafrica2021@gmail.com. Yep, that's the email. So I don't know what's being used. Yeah, Erica's health has been improving, I think. She'll have to speak for herself there. But thanks to everybody who's tuning in. Really do appreciate you guys being here. We've got a lot of coverage coming up here. Again, the programming announcement this morning, my apologies, but the connection to Transylvania just wasn't very good. So we tried to get Ernst Rutz, who is now with Solidarity, the trade union, no longer with AfriForum, but of course they're closely linked. He was going to be on with Janusz Jeleni, who was going to be with us from Hungary there in Transylvania. So they're moving on to Timisoara, and hopefully we'll be able to get them when they're in Timisoara. The purpose of the broadcast was to show you the impacts of communism on ethnic minorities. Yeah, tomorrow we've got multiple live streams. Excuse me. So tomorrow we've got, let's see, Fatima Abdul, Robert King, The News, and K-Nako. 4 back-to-back broadcasts tomorrow. On Sunday, we will have Johan Bosman to talk about solar photovoltaic safety. And we'll also have Neil De Beer from the United Independent Movement on Sunday. On Monday, let me take a look at here. I've been scheduling these things. So on Monday, we'll have Athol Trollop. The time is not set yet. On Tuesday, we'll have Mark Oppenheimer. And then we'll also have Notukela, who will be from Action SA. So, yep, those are upcoming interviews, and we've got more coming. That's just the ones I've got set up now. So, September, there's a new show, More and More. Okay, I don't know what that is. Okay, I know what the words mean, but, so yeah, where are you getting time? Well, Charles, where do I get the time to do anything I do? I just kill myself. Because it's important. The election's coming up. People need to be informed. And the media aren't doing, in my view, a particularly good job. They're picking their favorites, and they're spreading stories. In fact, the Daily Maverick has a breaking story about corruption in the ANC, but it's very difficult to follow the story. It goes back to 2015, and it's confusing. So I don't know what the answer is there. But where do I find the time? I just don't sleep. In fact, I didn't take my medication today. Just reminded me it's now 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I've not taken my doxycycline. Anyway, so yeah. Yeah, it's a crazy world, folks. You do what you have to do. And this is the same kind of energy and devotion I would have brought to the House of or the state legislature here in Pennsylvania. But alas, I will not be in that office. My neighbor came by yesterday and asked why my campaign yard signs were still in my yard. And I wanted to say because it's my property and they're my signs and I paid for them. So that's why. I didn't. I said, well, because I'm still running. He said, what do you mean still running? The primary's over. I said, no, people have recruited me to be a write-in candidate, so I'm running as a write-in candidate. He's like, what? No, you can't do that. You'll split the conservative vote. And I said, I'm just pulling your leg. But Debbie says their loss is our gain. Yeah, well, it's not my financial gain, that's for sure. I lost a lot of money on that, and I won't make that back. I lost more money in that election than I've earned from YouTube in 4 years. Well, from this channel, 4 years, 3 years. Note to Kayla is a darling. She's disabled. She's my stroke support group. Okay, I didn't know that. Okay, that's good to know. Cameron Simon training MA Fighting C is going to be the winner. Okay, Richard. Wow. I'm not going to comment on my neighbor. Anyway, yeah. So scary prospect. Yes. Well, that's the scenario I came up with. Let me see if I can find that real quick. How are we doing? We shrinking an audience? Oh, 89. We're back up to 89. So I did, what did I call that? Let me see if I can find that really quickly here. So where are those images at? Come on. There it is. So ANC, MK, EFF. That's what I call the Armageddon scenario for South Africa. So let's go to that very quickly. The Armageddon scenario for South Africa. That's what this is. That is likely to be the case. There you go. Armageddon, South Africa scenario, the ANC, MK, EFF coalition. ANC, this is based on the Brenthurst poll, not on the Ipsos poll, but based on the Brenthurst poll, the ANC, MK, and EFF would get 66% of the seats. So that something's not right there. The percentages aren't right. 248, yeah, so they would be just short of a majority for changing the Constitution, a couple of seats. Yep. So there you go. So that is the Armageddon scenario for South Africa. If that happens, it's game over. It's not like anything is going to be good right now anyway. Things are quite bad in South Africa as it is. Armageddon. That's correct. Armageddon. Yeah, Charles, you are screwed. And frankly, we're screwed here at the way things are going. The effort to imprison a former president. Absolutely ridiculous. Backcrap. Crazy. Silencing and removing illegally, unconstitutionally his First Amendment rights. Ken says, unfortunately, he thinks I'm correct. Well, that's one of the scenarios I came up with. I said these are possible scenarios. Frankly, I'm a little frustrated, folks. This content, I think, is pretty good, and it's just not getting attention. So, I mean, the two things, I did the video on the potential coalitions, and that one only has 2,400 views, whereas my NC candidate list for Parliament, Where Are the Whites, got 18,000 views. And that was just the day prior. 2,400 views for potential coalitions. And people keep asking, what are the coalitions? And then this morning's video I did is getting no traction whatsoever. That's very disappointing. I put a lot of effort into that video and that analysis. That video only has 325 views. Wow. MK Party Manifesto Analysis. That's disappointing. Disappointing. Love to see you out in front of the state capitol building telling truth to people from Steps for Rebel News. That'd be great, Mike. But Rebel News is a very exclusive organization that likes its favored people from Canada and Australia. I can't seem to get any traction. You got to be a person of color or one of the Indian crowd to be with Rebel News. I'd love to work for Rebel News. Ken says that's why secession is so important. Well, I don't disagree with that. Eric is having dinner. Okay, cool beans. Chris for SA President will take you if they don't want you. Well, thanks. Yeah, but becoming a president of South Africa would cause me to lose my citizenship in the U.S. But you know what? If I could fix South Africa, it might be worth it. We can fix things there. Wouldn't that be cool? Anyway, so there you have it. So, yeah. I don't know what to tell you guys. It's other than this crazy world. So, where's Paulie at? Paulie's not here. He must be out fighting fires in the Western Cape. Erica's off to dual citizens, like most of you. Well, we don't recognize dual citizenship, and I also am famously on the record of saying dual citizenship is nonsense. You cannot owe fealty to two different countries unless the countries come some sort of agreement that you don't owe fealty to it. I mean, how can I serve? I mean, the South Africans are trying to use dual nationality to punish South African citizens who serve in the Israeli Defense Forces. That's one of the problems with this dual citizenship stuff. Louis Erasmus, okay. Can't wait for Referendum Party to get a vote in the national elections. What are you talking about, Matthew? Dogbreaker, so we use a colonel to run the Independent Cape's amazing military force. Well, there you go. Actually, Dogbreaker, the Independent Cape could hire me as a contractor. That means I don't work for the government. They pay me a contractor fee. That would not jeopardize my citizenship. I could do that. Absolutely. Yep. Fires are still going on in Table Mountain area. So over by Kirstenbosch. Yep. Makes perfect sense if you consider who runs and who controls the world. Brian Lawrence says easier to fall pregnant than fixing South Africa. Well, we just have to get rid of the reprobates, and you can have a chance to fix the country. Blackwater is a contractor. That's correct. Yeah. But, I mean, and it's an independent contractor. In fact, I've been asked to do some independent contracting for some African countries, and it just hasn't come to fruition. I haven't done it. So I'm looking at a project right now. I'm just waiting to hear back from somebody. For some reason, I haven't heard back from them. Let me take a look and see if that person has tried to contact me today. Okay. I don't think so. I'm looking. Nope, I don't see it. I'll try calling that person and see if I get through. Anyway, yeah, but so next door to Dylan. Okay. Well, I tell you, if I live in South Africa, I'm going to want to be someplace like Franschhoek. I don't want to be in Stellenbosch. It's a murder capital these days. I used to want to be in Hout Bay, but apparently Hout Bay has gone south. It's not very nice anymore. Maybe Rondebosch, somewhere like that. Yep, somewhere ritzy and nice and expensive. That's where I want to live. Why not, folks? Why not? I'm not 22. Yeah, Pretoria is lekker, Richard. I love Pretoria, but we're talking about the Western Cape at the moment. Yeah, so, yeah, I like Pretoria. Pretoria is my favorite part of South Africa, but it doesn't have the scenic beauty that Cape Town has. It doesn't have the winelands that Cape Town has. It doesn't have the mountains that Cape Town has. But I'll tell you, What is this? Debbie says, best place, Chris. What? The grapes? The vineyards? Rondebosch is big bucks. Yes, I know, Charles. It is big bucks. That's why I said I'd like to live there. Well, also, where all the caterers live there, and Julius Malema lives just outside of Santon. That's also quite ritzy too, but I don't want to live there. Parklands, says Dylan. Okay. Yeah, no, it's, but I mean, it'd have to be part-time. I couldn't live there all the time as it is. But I need to win a lottery or something. That's like Constantia. Yeah, Constantia is nice, Garrett. Yep. But I've already made it pretty clear that if I did live in the Western Cape, I would probably live in Somerset West. I think I've been pretty unequivocal about that. Yep. The Drakensberg are just too remote, Charles. Too remote. They're beautiful. Nice place to visit. Does not have the Morletta Nature Reserve and lots of other places. Yeah, but Pretoria is nice. You can speak English, Afrikaans, or Tswana interchangeably there, and it's nice. Also, it's familiar. I know it. Yeah. The places I'm not really interested in living is Mpumalanga, Eastern Cape, and frankly, KZN is beautiful, but doesn't do anything for me. Rondebosch and Kirsten, all just beautiful and energy from the mountain breath. Yeah, exactly. Let's play the lotto, says Debbie. Indeed, let's play the lotto. You have to play that and win some money there, so, and then just move there. But yeah, but we'd have to have our own security force. Anywhere that's not a smart city. Okay, Reed Flay Nature Reserve has rhinos. Okay, all right. I didn't know that. But the Pretoria area used to be beautiful. I mean, the Harpiesport Dam used to be wonderful, but now it's just a sewage pit, courtesy of the ANC. It's really sad. Brits used to be decent, but it's just gone so far downhill. Rustenburg, not Rustenburg proper, but the south side of the highway is lovely. I love that layout there. It's just beautiful. The hill there up behind the mall where people live, that's a lovely area. Yep. Many ex-military have built security contracting business. That's true. That is true. Chris says, I just want to go to Strawberry Festival. Oh, you mean near Stellenbosch on the way to Somerset West? Since I'm moving to Zimbabwe, safe. I don't know anybody moving to Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe is not safe at all. You have a capricious government that will confiscate your property on a whim if you don't have the right skin pigmentation. I'd say that a better place to move is Botswana. Although Botswana is not nearly as well governed as it once was, it still remains a decent place to go to. So that's what I'd recommend. Too far. I told you I have an old hag next door. You can take her place. Okay, the Strand, Gordon's. Yeah, Gordon's Bay. Yeah. Yeah, it was nice in 1984. It's not bad now, Gordon's Bay. Yep. The Strand is okay. Gordon's Bay is nice. But Somerset West is right there. I mean, Somerset West, you're 10 minutes from the Strand, if that far, not even 10 minutes. And from Gordon's Bay, you're 10 or 12 minutes. So, I mean, it's just beautiful. Yeah. Jan's parents are leaving. Wow. Sorry to hear that. Probably good for them, though. Harrismith is great. I grew up there, and I'm fine. Matthew, Harrismith is boring. It's boring. I'm sorry, buddy. It's also in the middle of nowhere. It's just only there because it's on the way from one place to another. Probably exported all of them for Wimbledon now. A lot of strawberries. I don't know. Garrett took me to the strawberry patch. They're supposed to be strawberries, but they were out of season. That was funny. And we had a good time. We met somebody there, and I was standing in the parking lot, and people recognized me. That was so cool. Yeah, I come back to South Africa. If I come back without a beard, nobody's going to recognize me. Yeah. Anyway, so we've got to start making plans just in case I actually get my passport back about what I'm going to do and where I'm going to go. Again, it hinges on how quickly I get the passport. Also, I need to make plans for a potential November trip for a South African Springbok tour of the UK when they go to Wales, to Scotland, and to London. So got to start making plans for that in November, and then also this trip coming up to South Africa. So I haven't been back to Germany in a while. That would probably be a good trip, but it's been a long time since Germany. Wow. Yep. I've got a massive facelift, beautiful new restaurants, paving roads. Yeah, no, Garrett and I sat down there for a meet and greet that nobody showed up for. What photos on my passport? Well, my new photo on my new passport will have one with a beard. That's correct. My previous passport had me clean shaven, and this one will have a beard. So, by the way, folks, for those who don't know, I lost my election, but I did advertise in the local paper, and this is the advert that I put in after my election. So, this says, this is what I said to folks. I've read this before, but I'm going to read it again. So, I wrote, that's a picture of the castle there in Cape Town, below Table Mountain. It says, "Thank you kindly." And I quoted Ronald Reagan, "Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction." I said, "I wish to share my gratitude and thanks to all those in the 92nd District whom I met over the past 2 months during the campaign here in central Pennsylvania. Knocking on thousands of doors, I met so many interesting folks. I'm sorry we did not do better and get the chance to represent the district. Our nation is in peril, danger few see coming. This is why I ran for office. I will continue to fight for our liberty from an intrusive government and out-of-control state and federal legislatures. I thank everyone who kindly gave me their time, the folks who helped us develop the campaign, and volunteers who worked so hard speaking to folks, getting yard signs out, and to those who worked the polls. You're all rock stars. I end the race as I began it, with my integrity and honor intact. Colonel Retired Chris Wyatt." Yep. There you go. So, anyway. If I get shaved, I might not be let in. Yeah. Dogbreaker says, "Great letter." Well, thank you. That's what I put in the paper. Also, the media organization that helped me, the media house that helped me put together my campaign and my posters and my signs and my palm cards, things like this. These cards that I passed around that we had for the election. I'm going to go by there and thank those people this week. My plan is to go get them some good quality honey. As a beekeeper, I'd like to reward them with some honey, the people who helped me in my campaign. I don't know what you guys think about that, but that's my plan, to buy some honey. Nice, good quality honey, not that crappy, adulterated stuff you find in supermarkets, but the good stuff that's unadulterated honey, and give it to them. Yep, and to thank them for their time. Yeah, it's not necessary, but I think people with class do things like this. So, no, there's been nothing from the other candidates. Yeah. The bad guys feel you breathing down their necks. Well, I hope they do. There's nothing wrong with being a class act. And, I think it speaks, look, I'm not tooting my own horn, but I think it speaks volumes about people who think about others in a win or a loss. And that's what a leader does. Debbie introduced to the beekeeper makes the best honey. Well, I appreciate that, Debbie, because any chance I get to interact with beekeepers when I'm in South Africa, I'm really excited. Yep. Honey is an amazing gift, symbolic as well. Yes. Now, if you're wondering why I wanted honey, number one, I'm a beekeeper. But number two, honey is a product of teamwork. Teamwork. Now, when I was younger, it was all about achieving individual things. I thought that was important. But it isn't. As I grew older and as a leader, I realized that teams are successful. Humans are social creatures. And when they form teams, they are most successful. Well, good teams, not evil teams. So bees produce honey as a consequence of teamwork. Drones, the queen, and the females all work together. The worker bees, who are female, the drones, who are male, they're just there to mate and die, and then the queen. They all work together for the common good, and that's why I want to give them honey. And it goes great with anything. You're right, and it lasts forever. They have taken honey out of sarcophagi and taken them out of graves in Egypt where mummies were, and the honey's thousands of years old, and it's edible. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? Honey grows great with anything. Debbie agrees 100%. Yep. No, there you go. It's true. When you're out here in South Africa. Okay, so I already read that. So, yeah. So, I think that's the right answer is to give folks honey. So, that's my plan. In fact, I need to go get some honey today. I need some honey. Yeah, I'm trying to think of a place around here that's going to have it. So, I think I know one place. Like ants. Single idiots collectively, they're smart. Yep, super smart. Dogbreaker says, "All fantastic you once. There's no I in team." Yes, that's right. In the whole of an A. What? Yeah, there is no I in team. Yep. There's a me in team, but it's not together. Our bees are recovered. Many have helped regrow the swarms. Oh, well, that's cool, Sedgefield. Glad to hear that. Anyway, folks, I think we're going to wrap up here, but we got a big audience. What do you guys want to talk about before we go? Anything we want to cover very quickly here before we leave? Or do people want to go? Tomorrow is going to be a long day and lots to cover. Plus, I got to run around and get some honey today. Time to go buy some honey. Yikes. Anyway, hopefully I can find some good stuff. I know where I can get some, but that's the airport, and that's once you go through security. And I have no reason to go through security, so I can't get that honey. So I'll have to find it somewhere around here. There is a local farm produce place. They might have some honey there, so I'll check that out. Anyway. Anyway, all right. Thanks, everybody. Be sure to hit the like button. Thank you for tuning in. If you're not a subscriber, please become one. We do appreciate that here on the channel. And by the way, the person talking earlier sounded an awful lot like Christian Paradago. Christian Paradago. Oh, I wonder if that's what actually happened. So I had people who subscribed earlier just so they could chat, and they were trolls, and now they've left. We've dropped 3 subscribers since that broadcast earlier. You're welcome, Dogbreaker. Lauren Bernardo. Who is Lauren Bernardo? Used to live opposite the Rondebosch Commons, says James Bowie. Cape Town. Highest single voter registration is in London. I don't know what you're talking about. Mead. No, thank you. Beekeeper makes me a batch of his real honey with his homegrown turmeric. Oh, that's interesting. You're very welcome, folks. Have a lovely day, and thanks for being here. We'll catch you tomorrow for lots of broadcasts. And it's going to be a busy Wednesday. Cheers, and have a good day. Thank you so much. God bless. Enjoy your evening and your afternoon or morning, wherever you find yourself.